In this exercise, we will discover null objects and we will create this animation. I go to After Effects, new composition. I'm gonna set the duration to 15 seconds. Click on OK, right click, import file. I go to exercise 18. I select all the images and click on import. I go to the background, drag and drop. I'm gonna look for the pole. I'm gonna place it right here. Now I look for the blade and I'm gonna place it right here. I'm gonna zoom a little bit like this. I place the blade like this and I'm gonna make sure I place it here under the layer of the pole like this. Now the blade selected, Control D again to duplicate it 2 times. I'm gonna click on R. I'm gonna type 360 divided by 3, which equals 120. I press enter. Now I'm gonna take the blade from here to here like this. Now I select the other blade, press R, I click here and I'm gonna type 240, press enter, and I'm gonna place the blade right here. Now I need to rotate these blades. To do that, I'm gonna need a null object. To create a null object, I can right click here, go to new, and then click on null object, or I can go to layer, new, and then null object. I can also right click outside of the composition, go to new and null object. I click, just like that. I created a null object. This is our null object. We see the layer here and we see there's a square right here, but it's completely invisible. We can't see it, and on its own it's completely useless. But it does have an anchor point and it does have layer options here. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move this null object and place it right here. I want the anchor point of the null object to be exactly right here. And now here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put it under the pole right here. I'm gonna select the 3 blades, press Ctrl, I select the 3 blades like this, and I'm gonna parent them to the null object. Just like this. Now I go to the null object, I press R, I bring the rotation, I make sure the playhead is right here, 0 seconds. I click on the stopwatch. I go all the way to the end of the timeline, 15 seconds, and I'm gonna rotate the null object 4 times. Press enter. And now when the null object rotates, the blades rotate as well. The null object is very useful in a case like this. Now I'm gonna bring the clouds. I go cloud 1, drag and drop right here. Cloud 2, I'm gonna drop it right here, and cloud 3, I'm gonna drop it right here, like this. I'm gonna create a null object, layer, new, null object. I have null 2. I'm gonna place the null object right here. I'm gonna press shift and select all the clouds, pick whip, click and drag, and I'm gonna parent all the clouds to the null object like this. Now I click on the null object, press P to bring the position, playhead at 0 seconds. I click on the stopwatch like this. I go all the way to the end, and I'm gonna take the null object from here to here like this, and now the clouds are moving. I'm gonna press shift and S to bring the scale. I'm gonna click on the stopwatch at 0 seconds, of course. Click on the stopwatch, go to 15 seconds, and I'm gonna type 200%, press enter, and now we play. We see the clouds moving and scaling up at the same time. So instead of moving each cloud and scaling each cloud one by one, I used the null object, and it made things much easier. As you see, I'm gonna select the null object. I'm gonna press shift. I'm gonna select the 3 clouds and the null object. I'm gonna put them under the blades like this, just above the background. I want the pole to be in front like this. This looks better, I think. And now I'm gonna bring the barn, click and drag like this. Horse 1, drag and drop. I'm gonna drop the horse right here, and horse 2, drag and drop right here. Finally, the tractor, drag and drop right here. Now we have these 4 layers. We need to scale them down and put them right here. To do that, I'm gonna press shift. I'm gonna select the 4 layers like this. I go to this point and I'm gonna scale them down. I click, I'm gonna press shift and scale them down like this, but this is not the result I wanted. Control Z to go back. If I press S and scale them down using the scale option, I get the same result. This is not what we want. In a case like this, a null object can be very useful. I'm gonna create a null object. I go to layer, new null object. I create a new null object like this. I'm gonna select the 4 layers. I'm gonna parent all of them to this null object like this. Now they are parented. I go to the null object, I press S, and now when I scale down the null object, the 4 layers scale perfectly. This is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly how I wanted them to look. Nothing changed except for the scale. They are perfectly positioned. The horses, the tractor. Place them right here. I'm gonna scale them down a little bit more. Like this. I think 45 scale is good. Null object selected. I'm gonna move it a little bit like this and place them right there. And now we no longer need the null object. I can select it and delete it, and these 4 layers stay where they are and nothing changed. I'm gonna play the entire animation now. Now the exercise is finished. You go do the same and don't forget to save.